Now,
All right.
now, Darren, you told me everything was okay, that I went out all around the world in a recording. Just want to remind you that.
So,
I mean, by goodness,
all right,
why
so
wouldn't you?
I'll just try to, I'll try to summarize the situation as we know it right now. The word on the street that we now understand to be the case, and I want to put this as with a caveat that we believe this information to be true. We are very much aware that situations change, and just because the WHO said something or we heard that they said something doesn't mean that that's, you know, exactly the truth. But here's the truth as we know it at the moment. The Working Group for Pandemic Response, WGPR, my understanding is that they were responsible for shepherding the amendments amendments that the United States proposed into the assembly that's going to be starting on Sunday. And so obviously the assembly has not begun. And word has come down that through a number of different sources that a consensus was not able to be reached. And so what has happened apparently is that 12 of the 13 proposed amendments have been taken off the table, leaving only the last amendment, the 13th one, article number 59, which deals with shortening the time period for any amendments to be enacted or rejection or reservations to be placed whereby a nation could say, we don't agree to that amendment. And so a court case was brought or was attempted to be brought by Zach Cox in the UK on this past Thursday. He put in a request for a judicial review, which was rejected. And then on Friday, put in an appeal. And at the very end of the day, the government legal department at the Secretary of State of Health in UK replied with a letter that went to both Zach and to the court, revealing that unbeknownst to anybody officially, a consensus had not been reached on 12 of the 13 amendments, and the only one remaining, was not worthy of judicial review because it just changed the time, and so it didn't deal with sovereignty in any way, shape, or form. So I take this as a victory for people power. I think that a push has been made, and people in the WHO realized that they weren't going to be able to sneak this through. Personally, it's got me fired up because 12 out of 13 is not good enough. I want that last 13th one to go away as well. And so from now until forever, we're going to be trying to let the word get out that this is a situation.
We have a question here from Kathleen right next to me.
James, so when I talked to you today, you indicated that you were really concerned about the fact that Article 59 was still there. What do you see as the main danger of Article 59 right now? How could that affect things going forward?
Well, the simple fact that that's the last that was the one that they wanted all along, to speed up the process. And so it's a very simple amendment. It merely just changes the time. And, what's the hurry? Why would you be in a hurry to rush in amendments that, what is it you're trying to change? If you look at what they were trying to do and just look at the ethics behind what they're doing, it's not just about the framing of this one last amendment. These folks cannot be trusted, and we can't let them have an inch because they'll keep trying to take a mile. And so as much as possible, there's been many fights where it looked like somebody got hit really hard and they don't actually fall and get knocked out. We need the knockout punch for this. We got to make it so that the energy is not just to stop these amendments, but to just get out of the WHO completely for everybody in the world, because they simply cannot be trusted. That should be obvious.
Thank you. Now, Paul, and I think after that, Rima has a question or something to say.
Yeah, the strategy, these guys all talk and they know when you shorten the time, then they can outrun you. You see, you can't organize fast enough to be able to get down the pike and get something done. Now, it's good that you did organize enough to get the message across, and it's good that somebody filed a lawsuit in the UK and all that's good. But this is exactly a page right out of the wires companies. They set shot clocks, at least in the United States, and they force you to make decisions within unreasonable periods of time. In our case, it's 60 days. So correct, for a big change like this, 6 months is not enough. You need 18 months to organize an opposition and talk it all out and everything else. So clearly, this is just them trying to take advantage. Hey, I think the big message is this: we're still going out as strong as ever. It's just that we can't count on any of this sticking. We just have to make sure that everybody realizes this is the wrong move. We don't ever want to see this come back again. In fact, we have to take stronger steps. We can't take a chance like this again in the future. We are going to have to get out of the World Health Organization. That's the way I'd frame it.
All right.
Yeah.
Thank you very much. Now, Rima, could you you want to add to that?
Several things. First of all, 6 months is the time to do the end run that Paul just mentioned, and is outrageous if there's anything like a representative process anywhere in the world. It is part of the takeover plan to ram things through. The United Nations, UNESCO, they tell us exactly what they're going to do. For example, on October 31st, 2011, which the World Health Organization and the other public-private agencies, they're all private corporations and they're funded by exactly the wrong folks. The celebration of 7 billion day, the statistical day when human population reached 7 billion, was lovely, and there was one baby selected as the statistical 7 billionth person, a little girl in the Middle East, and they sent her blankets and diapers, and it was all very bottles of formula when people ideally should not use formula, and it was all very lovely. And the Director General of the World Health Organization at that time, Margaret Chan, MD, said, looking straight into the camera, now on 7 billion day, we have to get really serious about population reduction. They're very, very clear. They tell us precisely what they're going to do and why they're going to do it. It's we who are naive enough to not believe them, to think that they couldn't possibly be serious. They're very serious. And they've been planning this action, as with the Federal Reserve, which was mentioned being planned decades before it was finally enacted. These plans have been afoot since the days, at least since the days of the Fabian socialists at the turn of the 20th century. And the blueprints have been laid out by Aldous Huxley and George Orwell and Margaret Sanger and so on. They're not kidding. And they're doing precisely what they said they were going to do. So it behooves us, I believe, to make the point very clearly to every community that we can reach, whether it's by speech or by email or by media, whatever we're doing. And we need to do it all to make the point that these are destroyers of life. These organizations and individuals have the simple aim of every human being on the planet, both genetically and sociologically, financially, medically, etc., and enslaving the few who are permitted to remain, as they have specifically in writing articulated. And we have to undermine and unhinge their plans so that we can live healthy, human, productive lives as free people all over the world, rather than as slaves. And that's the campaign. This is a piece of it. The next piece is a piece of it, because they're coming back. And the next piece is a piece of it. But the overarching campaign, in my mind, to get the hell out of the international organizations that are specifically designed to destroy and enslave the small number remaining, like Agenda 2030 says they are going to do.
All right, thank you so much, Rima. Karen, you're
I just got a document the other day from the Nuclear Threat Initiative, which is a tabletop exercise like Event 201. As a matter of fact, one of the organizations is funded by the same guy, Dustin Moskovitz, who funded Event 201. And in that paper, it was written in this tabletop exercise 2021, it actually talks about the epidemic of the monkeypox that's coming in June of 2022. So if you read this document, it's just all fake. It's just, a practice exercise, and they're using this monkeypox that's going to come, hit the globe in 2022. And what are we hearing about right now from Bill Gates and everybody else? Monkeypox, smallpox. So why I'm bringing this up is that we're going to be fed, especially because we have midterm elections here in the United States, we're going to be fed a tremendous amount of diversions and chaos between now and the midterm elections. While we have the momentum of this initiative, once the assembly is over, and if we're successful in stopping the amendments, I think we need to jump right into an organized effort to get out of the WHO while the iron is hot and people are on board and
I agree
activated.
very much there. Shiloh has has something to say.
Yeah, I also agree with working towards getting out of the WHO, and I am following up with Darren. We need to come with solutions. So if we can come with a solution to the WHO, with our own solution, whether it be World Council for Health or another group, I'm just using them as an example. I think that it's going to be catchy to the public to understand that, okay, this is not working and this is why, and now here's an alternative and it's time to move because these people are incapable of making appropriate decisions for the rest of us. And again, that's my stand.
Yeah, and I agree with that. Yeah, sorry.
I don't think we've ever been, or the public has ever been more ready to make a move like this because of what's happened over the past 2 years, like they are now. I think it's opportune, and yes, we have a lot of planning and organizing. I don't want to lose the momentum that we've created.
Yep.
Absolutely.
Absolutely. And just to fill in what Shiloh said, I mean, like, if you look at the past 2 years and the decisions they've made and the policies that they've crafted, all of them have, scientifically been shown to be completely inept and ridiculous. Like the masks, in Finland, I saw a Finnish study now that, it actually shows that you're more likely to contract the COVID. You have the vaccines, obviously, completely inept and dangerous. You have the fact that they are not as a first pillar, using, early treatment, which should be the pillar of any, good health organization, and so on and so forth. Lockdowns, completely useless, and so on and so forth. So we have a lot of ammunition to show, look, this is what they did for 2 years, and this is why we don't need them anymore.
I am putting a link on the chat. Perhaps if you share this video, you can share the link as well. This is a paper that I delivered in Mangalore, India in 2015, in which I documented the fact that monkeypox is a created invention done by Larry Brilliant, by the way, who was a special advisor to the World Health Organization and unfortunately a classmate of mine in medical school. He recommended, and the recommendation was accepted, that smallpox, which in fact has never been eradicated, be renamed monkeypox in order to allow it to be claimed that smallpox had been eradicated. Now, the New England Journal of Medicine did a study because the virologists concerned said, monkeypox, do you know what monkeypox is, George? No, I don't know, Fred, I never heard of monkeypox. And so they took 611 pathology samples from monkeypox deceased persons, and they did a genetic characterization of the pathogen, of the virus, and discovered that it was indeed identical to the smallpox virus. Now it's being said that monkeypox is a cousin of smallpox. No, it is smallpox. And smallpox, as we know, has never been eradicated and has been in small reservoirs here and there, but also in laboratories. And there's no reason to think that this is not weaponized smallpox as well as smallpox per se. And very handily, it was discovered to have erupted first in the UK, now in the United States, just a few days before the World Health Assembly, so that everyone in the world understands how urgent it is to prepare against the next, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera.
Absolutely.
I think we have to make those points very, very clearly in every outlet that we have, to create dissension from the official narrative and create distrust when we're being lied to.
What I'm thinking about is, how does that work within the United States, and tactically considering how to divorce ourselves from the WHO and UNESCO, et cetera, might be, particularly coming into this election season, it might be worthwhile to be thinking about it on a regional basis.
A very good point, Alan. Sorry, Shiloh, do you want to say something?
Yeah, I do. So I sort of want to follow up with Alan on this discussion on midterm elections. And recently here in Ecuador, we've had success getting a politician named Salvador Quispe to listen. And he has made a public statement demanding many things about this IHR. So what I think would be a really good idea is to contact these politicians and see where they stand on this issue. And then we can give the voters, I think we can information, show the people who are working for the people and who are working against the people.
Well, good point. I think it's definitely worth a try. I think next one up is Karen, if we can hear from you.
Yeah,
Karen.
Just real quick too. I think if we are successful in getting ourselves out of the WHO, it also inflicts a very deep wound in the Bill Gates Foundation, Klaus Schwab and his movement. It'll inflict the first very deep wound into their agenda. And a lot of people may not know about Agenda 21 and all the other stuff in the WHO, but a lot of people know about Klaus Schwab and Bill Gates, and would be happy to do anything to really inflict the wound on them.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right. Thank you, Karen.
I put something in
Paul,
the chat, something I received today, and it doesn't sound good, but you'll see that there is a video of the Chinese preparing for war. And what they are talking about is possibly coming across the Pacific and actually coming to California. And the timing of this could be right before the elections. And that could be a reason not to have elections. And so I'm just making you aware of stuff that I've received by email. And I've sent you a link to the video. You can view it yourself and read what's going on there. This is a whistleblower who got the video and presented it. It's all in Chinese. Now, we know that Newsom is in bed with the Chinese, our California governor. So he has done some things to actually enable this to happen. Pretty much bought both sides. Okay. So you understand that they've been working against us for years. And, there are a few honest people in there, but they're not in high numbers. And so everybody's got skin in the game and everybody's making millions of bucks. And they do that through their information and investments and everything else. And when they've made enough money and they get disgusted by it, they may go back out. But the people you have to worry about are the people who've been there for a long, long time. And frankly, none of them, if you really look at it carefully, none of them have been properly elected. Because they're, you just go back to the procedures on the elections, right? The machines that were used are not certified. And this is all brought forward by Taurus Mary Lindman. So there's a way that we could possibly throw them all out because they're not properly elected. And we start all over again.
Some amazing things in Ecuador, and how we started them was because we don't have any extra money. That's just where we're at in our finances. But we've been able to raise all the money. If we can put a team together with solutions and really work hard, I believe that all of this is possible.
So James just wanted me to quickly just say that I was picking up my son up from the station, and as I was driving, I start to remember stuff. And I did write a letter to the Prime Minister on the 13th of May, Boris Johnson, at his private office. I've got his private office email address if anybody else wants to write to him. It was quite a short email, and I said, under the Freedom of Information Act, I would be grateful if you could tell me the named individuals from the UK government, public bodies and private organisations who will be representing the United Kingdom at the World Health Assembly in Geneva, May 22nd to May 28th. Could you also please confirm that the United Kingdom will have to act in lockstep with 194 other countries on the direct advice from the World Health Organization should they need to declare a public health emergency? This would be in line with the up and coming international health regulations at the World Health Assembly in less than 2 weeks. Now, as of yet, I haven't received a reply, but other people have also sent, when we broadcast that email address, which is private office at number 10, and that's NO numeric 10 .x.gsi.gov.uk. So that's private office at number NO 10 numeric 10 .x.gsi.gov.uk. Since we broadcast that email address, a lot of our audience have also written to the Prime Minister addressing him as Boris Alexander de Pfeffel Johnson, which is his name. So we've gone both ways to address him in his role as an actor in a public office and also as a human being, as a man. So I've done that, and I've also sent James the UK petition. There's a Parliament petition, including I sent that to James, a letter I sent to one of our MPs, Steve Baker, who subsequently put a question to the House of Commons with regards to the WHO pandemic treaty. I think it caught the Secretary of State, Sajid Javid, off guard. I don't think he was expecting it, but there has been quite a groundswell of that there's been a media groundswell, and there's also been quite an outwardly public groundswell of support in finding out exactly what's going on and asking our MPs. For the minute, everything seems to have been calmed down. It's like, don't worry, there's nothing to see here. We would never throw our sovereignty away. But all the information that I've sent James, including mainstream media interviews with Nigel Farage, and also an interview we did with Sir Christopher Chope, who's a Conservative backbencher.
I think you covered everything, and we'll be putting that up on the article and getting that out to everybody as soon as possible. So thank you kindly.
For common law countries of the world, there is a process that we've been using here in the United States, specifically around the 5G rollout, called notices and affidavits, which places responsibility personally on the actors, the individual actors, as Boris Johnson, for example, and because of their violation of their oaths of office, which they all take, they must take, or the people that they supervise, their contractors and employees and so on. And so the malfeasance, maladministration, etc. These are actually crimes under the legal system. And we've been working with a wonderful group called Affidavit Mamas, which is a fabulous name. The Affidavit Mamas are using this process in a variety of ways having to do with many issues. Contact me, I'll put you in touch with them. I'm certainly not an expert, I'm learning, but this is a powerful way of providing us with a tool to put personal responsibility on the shoulders of these bad actors. That means their houses, their fortunes, their property, their cars are all subject to forfeit if things go the way we believe that they will and should with this process. And they are subject to criminal prosecution through grand juries. It's pretty powerful stuff. And it's a tool that I was not aware we had until a few months ago. So I'll put my email in here, my personal email. And if you want information about the affidavits, the notice and affidavit process, I can connect you with the
on the
right
record,
folks.
for the record, since we're recording, I need to give a disclaimer because I don't know who this is going to go to. But I, Darren, am a live flesh and blood man made in the likeness and image of my creator, comprised of body, soul, and spirit. My authority is God's divine law. Whoever gets this needs to know my positions. That's my status and standing. There's lots of power in what I just said.
Absolutely.
Because I just stepped out of the matrix, out of the straw man, out of the all capital letter name into my divine being through Christ. Okay.
Right.
All right. That's my disclaimer. First thing I want to say for people watching this is I'm going to summarize. I think we have one solution as humanity right now, and that's to secede our sovereign nations from the WHO.
Mm-hmm.
Battling these amendments at this assembly is a good thing to do. I'm heavily participating in that, and I think we've done a pretty good job at this point, but it's one teeny little battle in a huge war. There was already some comments made about Huxley and Orwell. Well, if we go back to Albert Pike, who wrote a letter in the 1800s, he talked about the plan for the Illuminati to take the world over in 3 world wars, and each war was going to step humanity into global governance.
Mm-hmm.
That's what this is. I'm summarizing this 30 years of my research really fast. So everybody, we need to start sowing the thought form out there to people to start thinking. We need to maintain our national sovereignty and our individual sovereignty, which I gave you my disclosure at the beginning of this recording. Everybody really needs to take a good look at this, because we don't wrestle against flesh and blood. We wrestle against principalities and powers. There's a whole unseen world here that's controlling this thing. So, solutions. That's solution number 1 in the big picture. But solution number 2, where we can each take action that's going to receive this recording, is constructive notices and notice of liabilities. This is where the sovereigns operate. You don't need attorneys to do this. A constructive notice or a notice of liability is basically where you bring facts to a certain individual and say, this, and you give them an opportunity to make it right. And if they change their ways, we're all good. But if you continue to move forward, you were put on notice. We have evidence that you were put on notice. And when we get to a tribunal down the road, you can't say you didn't know. We tried to politely tell you. So everybody needs to get really serious with their political leaders, whoever they may be, with constructive notices, with notices of liability. And you can do that without attorneys. We don't need to go through the legal system to do this. This is essentially what we did here in Ecuador with this sovereign notice we just served to the WHO yesterday. Is we just put them on notice with 200 signatures here that we, the people, we don't care what the delegates say or do for Ecuador. We, the people, are telling you, we do not consent under our authority. Everybody's got to get out of the fear mode and get back into our power. We were created as divine beings. We forgot who we are. And so we're believing we've become high-class slaves. Most of us are high-class slaves, starting with the birth certificate. When we pop out of the womb, much to our chagrin, we don't even know that. And then we go into Social Security and driver's license and marriage license and W-4s and all these contracts. Well, guess what? The good news, the solution, we can withdraw from those contracts. The World Health Organization is a contract. We just show up and say, no more. And if you're going to try and drag us in secretly, we're going to put you on notice. Don't do that, because that's going to be problems down the road. Now. We are really going into serious times. Humanity has no clue what's on the table here. In fact, I am going to throw out the harbinger here. It's probably a good thing for everybody to brace for impact. Brace for impact on your own individual level. Plan your own individual level and do your community national thing too. Who's a little brace for impact? A huge big thing coming.
Mm-hmm.
And the Ukraine ain't so much about biolabs. There's a whole big story that those guys are all in on. That's
absolutely.
A gentleman brought up on the call here. Those are all little sideshows to distract everybody, a diversion tactic for something much bigger that's coming. So, anyways, thank you for your time. I'll do what I can, and
thank you, everybody. Thank you so much, and we will be doing everything we can to spread the word about the information that we have. And you guys are all wonderful, and there's just billions of wonderful people on the planet. It's all up to us, as he said. So once again, thank you.
Peace and love to everyone. And thank you, James, for getting us together.
Thank you, James.
Yeah, thank you, James, and thank you to everybody, all of your efforts from Ecuador with love. Thank you from the bottom of my heart. Love you guys all so much. Thank you.
You from the United Kingdom. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, guys. Have a beautiful rest of your day or evening. Really, thank you.